If you're like most gardeners, you've been told since day one that manure is the gold standard for healthy soil. Cow manure, chicken manure, rabbit droppings, you name it. For years, I hauled, spread, and dug manure into my beds every fall like it was a sacred ritual. But here's the truth. I quit using manure in my garden this fall. And guess what? My harvest is on track to be bigger, healthier, and more resilient than ever before. I'm not here to say manure doesn't work. It absolutely does. But there are smarter, cleaner, and surprisingly easier soil tricks that supercharge your garden without the risks of pathogens, weed seeds, or nutrient imbalances. On SoilSage Chronicles, I want to share the real experiences and lessons I've learned, so whether you're a beginner or a seasoned green thumb, you'll walk away with actionable strategies to grow 100 times better harvests without relying on manure. Before diving into the soil tricks, let's talk about why I decided to break up with manure. First, there's the smell. My neighbors weren't thrilled, and honestly neither was I, but smell was the least of it. Manure can carry pathogens if not aged or composted correctly. E. coli, salmonella, and other nasties can survive in fresh manure and end up on your food. On top of that, manure often comes with hidden weed seeds. If you've ever had a lush harvest of thistles or mystery grasses pop up in your garden, manure might be the culprit. Finally, I realized manure is just one tool in a much larger soil-building toolbox. It's not the holy grail, and when I explored alternatives, I found ways to boost soil fertility, structure, and biology that outperform manure on every front. Instead of hauling in manure, I now grow my own fertilizer directly in the soil. Cover crops like clover, vetch, peas, oats, and rye do the heavy lifting. These plants protect the soil through the fall and winter, feed it with organic matter, and, if you choose legumes, fix nitrogen right out of the air. When spring rolls around, I simply chop and drop the cover crop into the beds. The roots improve soil structure, the leaves provide mulch, and the decomposition adds nutrients in a balanced way. It's like a self-sustaining buffet for your garden. Best part? No hauling, no smell, and no risk of pathogens. If you're new to cover cropping, start with crimson clover or winter rye. They're hardy, reliable, and easy to manage in small backyard beds. Now, compost is different from manure. While manure is animal-based, compost is a controlled blend of kitchen scraps, garden waste, and carbon-rich materials like leaves. When done right, compost becomes black gold. It teems with beneficial microbes, balances nutrients, and improves soil texture. The key here is balance. I used to throw in whatever scraps I had without thinking about the greens and browns ratio. That often led to slimy or smelly piles. Once I started layering carbon-rich browns, like shredded leaves and cardboard, with nitrogen-rich greens, like food scraps or grass clippings, the compost heated up properly, killing weed seeds and pathogens. If you want compost to replace manure, focus on making hot compost, a pile that reaches 130 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. That heat destroys unwanted organisms while creating a microbe-rich soil amendment your garden will love. Worms are nature's tillers and fertilizer factories. Vermicomposting, or worm composting, has completely transformed how I feed my garden. Unlike manure, worm castings are odorless, concentrated, and full of beneficial microbes and plant-available nutrients. I started small with a simple worm bin under my potting bench. I feed the worms kitchen scraps, shredded paper, and a little garden waste. In return, they give me castings that I mix into seed-starting mixes, potting soil, or directly into garden beds. Castings improve germination, boost disease resistance, and make plants explode with vigor. If manure was like a crude multivitamin, worm castings are like a precision-formulated supplement tailored for plants. Instead of layering manure, I now mulch heavily in fall. Straw, shredded leaves, wood chips, and even grass clippings all act as a protective blanket over the soil. This does several things. It prevents erosion, locks in moisture, feeds soil life as it breaks down, and suppresses weeds naturally. Leaves in particular are my favorite fall mulch. They're free, abundant, and packed with trace minerals that trees pull from deep in the subsoil. When those leaves break down, all those minerals become available to my veggies. Think of it as like a mineral recharge for your garden. Pro tip: run leaves through a shredder or mow them before spreading. They'll decompose faster and stay put on windy days. This was the game changer. Instead of drenching my soil in manure, I brew compost teas and microbial inoculants that activate soil life. Healthy soil isn't just about nutrients, it's about the microscopic ecosystem that makes those nutrients available. A simple compost tea made by steeping finished compost in water with a little aeration creates a living elixir full of beneficial bacteria and fungi. I pour this over beds or spray it directly on leaves. The result? Plants that resist disease, recover faster from stress, and produce more. If you're adventurous, you can also brew fungal-dominant teas using leaf mold. These teas improve soil structure and help perennial plants thrive. One thing I never realized until I quit manure was how depleted some soils can get. Manure can mask deficiencies for a while, but it doesn't always replace lost minerals. That's where natural rock dusts come in. I use basalt rock dust and gypsum in small amounts to recharge my soil. Basalt adds trace minerals like iron, manganese, and copper, while gypsum provides calcium and improves soil structure without altering pH. When paired with organic matter and microbes, these minerals get locked into the soil food web, giving crops a long-term health boost. It's not about dumping endless amendments, but about creating balance. Think of it as fine-tuning your soil instead of blasting it with raw manure. So, what happened when I ditched manure and leaned into these tricks? My tomatoes this season were the biggest I've ever grown. My kale held off pests far longer, and my root crops had better flavor and less splitting. More importantly, my soil feels alive. It's crumbly, full of earthworms, and easy to work with, even after heavy rains. By focusing on cover crops, compost, worms, mulch, microbes, and minerals, I've built a soil system that feeds itself. I don't feel chained to hauling or sourcing manure anymore, and I'm confident my garden will only get better year after year. So, should you quit manure too? That's up to you, but I hope this glimpse into my journey inspires you to experiment with these soil tricks. You might be surprised at just how effective and liberating it is to garden without it. This fall, don't just dump manure and walk away, think bigger. Grow cover crops, feed your worms, mulch deep, brew teas, add minerals thoughtfully. These are the tricks that have given me a harvest I never thought possible. And if you want to keep learning practical, tested soil wisdom, stick around with me here on SoilSage Chronicles. Subscribe to the channel, share this article with your gardening friends, and let's keep building gardens that thrive, naturally, sustainably, and abundantly.